Everybody, welcome back to our episode of FSIDFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm your host, Micro31. Thank you for all the well wishes, but I mean, I really wasn't sick. Or last week I went to an outdoor wedding, and I don't know if it like allergies from something or just sinuses or what it was, but I just woke up on Sunday morning and I just like all weekend long I was just like coughing and coughing and coughing, and I speak a couple words and I just couldn't stop. So it just wasn't the perfect time to do a video. So, anyways, we're back at it. Lots of colors on the screen, and I know I didn't do like the truck and Xfinity breakdown videos is just because there's like only a 2 hour window in between the end of qualifying and inspection and stuff and the race. And these are races where place differential matters and you can't speculate on you need to have the starting lineup. So anyways, hopefully you got to see the slideshow video yesterday. Hopefully it helped you out. We nailed the winner. It was on the cover. So let's see if we can do the same here today. So, looking at the DK driver's name, it's the second round of the playoffs, or the second race in the second round of the playoffs. So this isn't do or die, but there will be some people maybe playing a little bit more conservative. It is kind of a survive in advance. Roval next week. It's a good race for some people. It's not a good race for others. So, but I don't think it'll factor in a ton here. And you'll notice there's lots of colors with the team because this is a great race, especially in the Cup Series, to put together models or manufacturers. So Fords with Ford, Chevys with Chevy, Toyotas with Toyotas, and then different teams work pretty well together. So I'll just break that down quickly. So starting with the Fords, and I'll sort it this way so it's easier for you to kind of see. So that didn't work. Okay. So we'll start with the Chevys here. So within Chevys, Hendrick, JT Doherty has Hendrick Motors, Spire has Hendrick Motors. These drivers tend to work. So it's good to maybe stack them together because if they're all working together in one group and that group has the right pit strategy and uh, win the race and stay out of trouble, that sometimes works. These other ones with Trackhouse and Childress and Colleague, and the couple like extra ones like Live Fast and these guys in Beard all have a tech alliance with RCR. So there are other ones that are good to put together. Not saying that they won't cross and other Chevys working with Chevys, but I think this darker group is probably the one that you want to work with the most. And then the lighter one is another one that's the darker one's great because you got a lot of guys starting in the 30s, and that's where they like to stay kind of back there and move forward. So the Spire group is very strong, mixing with some of the Hendrick ones that are in some decent ones and Stenhouse. That could be a solid core if Chevrolet all work together and then they have the best cars and the best strategy and it works out because sometimes you'll have like one pack and the other pack and the pack will pit together and some of them will do earlier, later, and sometimes the late one catches the early one and passes them. Sometimes it's they pitted too late, and so we've seen that happen at Daytona and Talladega sometimes when there's not a ton of chaos and it turns into follow leader and pack racing. With the Fords, Stewart Haas and front row should work together. That's one group. Rick Ware will kind of hang out in the back, maybe work with some, but I don't think that they might end up a couple laps down and eventually it'll be there at the end. There's a lot of chaos, but I wouldn't count on them necessarily being aggressive and working with some of the other ones. Maybe LaJoy, probably not Ware. And then Penske has always worked really well together. Wood Brothers is a subsidiary with Penske, and I think RFK, even though they're a different color, would probably work more with Penske than these. But again, you might see some cross work with any of them. Toyota's a little bit easier to figure out. 23, 11, and Gibbs are pretty much the same team, so all of them together mix into legacy guys because they could be up there working with them too. Especially, Jones and Nemechek are further on back. So if you want to take like Hamlin, who's starting a little bit too far forward out of your lineup, and maybe Gibbs, then that makes a really solid stack for you. So some different ways to approach this slate. So the three rules we always say is play light because it's an unpredictable sport and this track is even more unpredictable. So it's a high variance game of chance here. You want to play place differential over dominators. There was a year that Denny Hamlin pretty much dominated the whole race, led from the pole, and won the race, and was not in the optimal lineup even close. Optimal lineup drivers are usually 20th on back. Occasionally, some of the ones higher on up get in it, but for the most part, you want to stay with and all the catch plays, as you can see, are 21st on back. There are no dominators here. I use the dominator tags just to show you the guys that in purple that have some place differential, and Blaney is probably the best driver on this track that could win it. And then the couple of orange ones are guys that are starting a little bit too far forward, but also have the upside to potentially win it. Really good plays on FanDuel. Like for FanDuel, you want more finishing position than you want place differential. So it's okay to play some of these fades up here if you think that they can go out there and win the race. So, and the other thing is leave money on the table. I had a very good day in Xfinity yesterday and in trucks. And in trucks, I left over 10K on the table. In Xfinity, I left like 6K on the table. It's okay. Don't use all your salary. You don't have to get the studs in. Play the place differential over playing your favorite drivers and the dominated drivers because fast laps and laps led are so spread out. There's not that many of them. The points don't really matter as much. You need that place differential to win. And you see some oddball drivers win some of these races. So starting at top, McDowell, great. They have a great program here, great FanDuel play potential. If you think he can stay up there, stay out of trouble, dominate, win the race. Same thing with Austin Cindric, Gillian, and Bush. All these and Bush is like trying to win when this is a good chance for him to keep the streak alive. All four of these drivers in real life, if they can stay up there and not get into trouble, could potentially win this race. I mean, anybody in the field could potentially win this race, but they're not great players for DraftKings, so just cross them off the board. Blaney in a GPP, if you think he can win it, could potentially get there. So you don't need to worry about salary. So the 10K, and you don't have to say he has to do this and this and lead to pay off his salary. It doesn't matter. You're just trying to accumulate raw points here. So love him on FanDuel. He'll be a core on FanDuel. On DraftKings in a GPP, consider it. Logano's always been really good here. He's better at Daytona than he has been at Talladega. Sometimes he gets caught up in wrecks, but if Team Penske is really strong, if you stack the team, it really might not do much here for you on DraftKings, but on FanDuel, it might be a very, very good stack. Dylan RCR runs really well. These two guys are starting way too far forward. I just can't see that on DK working out. Hamlin, like I said, would make a good stack. He was really good before the next gen car and more at Daytona and Talladega, so still a fade here. Burton and Hemrick, they've had some success where like everybody else has failed and they were like last man standing just by attrition, but that's very risky, and I don't think it's a wise play in DFS, so I'm not touching them. Chase Elliott does have the upside to win this race, has a strong car, is a good driver. Hendrick looks pretty good here. So I think that you could consider him as a GPP as if I'd only take one of these like purple or orange drivers and then place differential, place differential, place differential. Larson's a fade. He just hasn't done really well with the next gen car at super speedways and especially at Talladega. Kozlowski was really, really good at a time playing racing in these races, and I really liked him when he used to hook up with the Penske drivers. Again, might be a great FanDuel play, might be a good one-off in a GPP if you think that you can get up there and win. There is a little bit of play, like 12 place differential points for you, so something to consider. Reddick has already won a race here. I think it might even been a playoff race at Talladega. So he is probably where I would start with your Toyota stack. I'd skip Gibbs and then I'd go like take guys that are down further on with that. So I really like him a strong play here. Gibbs, I mean, you can consider him, especially if the other ones are pulling him up, but I just really haven't seen him as a confident super speedway racer. Byron has won races and has been solid also. So I think he and Reddick also would be good choices as a one-off and then build with place differential in a GPP if you're trying to nail a winner. And the other thing too is if you want to go Elliott, Byron, and then take some of the Chevys down below, then I think that works out well. Shane Van Gisbergen, not this type of racing for him, fade for me. Priestberry and Busher, I think I'd only use in stacks in a GPP. They're right on the fringe. They could do well, but there's better place differential plays below them. Christopher Bell, I think, is a cash play here. I think if again, if the Toyotas are working well together, that he could be in the stack, or you can play him as a one-off. Gregson is always did well on super speedways, and I think if you want to pair these Stewart Haas drivers together, they make a very strong four-person stack. And I'm okay if you go a little bit above 20 there in the 18 and 19. I think that works quite well. Just make sure that you get other drivers that are further on down to finish off that stack. Bowman, another one that's good either in your cash lineup or in a Hendrick stack. Truex, he hasn't had he's never won a super speedway race in all his career, and now he's not in the playoffs, so maybe that'll help factor in that maybe he doesn't have to worry about like stage points or anything and can actually go for it here. So I wouldn't be surprised. So intriguing GPP. I'll have a one share of him at least just in case. Strange feeling about that. Like maybe this is something to check off his bucket list. Last chance at a super speedway. Unless he like comes back and like runs Daytona or something like that and runs like an a la carte schedule, which you see some of the people like Jimmy Johnson do. But that's in the future. This is today. So intriguing, but not a cash play. Allmendinger, I think you can play as a cash play. He's always been good at staying pretty clean of super speedways. Colleague Racy, you used to be really, really good here. Not this year, but the potential is always high there. Bubba's going to be the first prime play. Everybody's probably not going to be on him because he's so far forward up in the 20s. People are like will probably like the cars more in the 30s, and but he has won at super speedways. He's always been a good super speedway driver. He likes to get out there and be up top and lead, which usually helps him avoid crashes. So he's going to be where I start my cash lineup. Chastain, I like a lot too. He's boomer bust checkers or wreckers. So I can understand if you want to treat him more as a GPP play, but I think he's got a lot of place differential upside. His aggressiveness could keep him towards the front and out of trouble. LaJoy, again, I don't know if he's going to try to be aggressive like he's been up there in super speedways and led it like Atlanta and had a dominant car, but he's in the Rick Ware one, not the Spire one here. And the Rick Ware theorem is usually stay close to the back and try not to run into trouble. So I don't know how it's going to play out. That's why I have him as GPP. John Nemechek seems to find trouble very often, so that's why I have him as GPP. Love Eric Jones here. I think he's been solid on super speedways throughout his career and in this car, and has some upside, and no problem pairing him in with the Toyota ones. Daniel Suarez, pairing him with Chastain and some of the other colleague cars might not be a bad one out. Maybe if you pick one Childress one, but again, I think Childress starting way too far forward, but they have always paired up well, and I think Chastain and Suarez will work together to try to help Suarez with his playoff. So I see Chastain pushing him as like kind of a team command there to try to help Suarez have a successful race to be able to advance to the next round. I think he's going to be very chalky. Um, and a very good play there. Deadhouse has been more patient. Like early, he used to be Wrecky Spinhouse, but he has been staying more towards the back. Like early, he used to go up there and force the issue way too early in races and get in trouble and wreck a bunch of people and get people annoyed at him. But he has definitely matured in his driving, and he should be um, good. Just keep away from Kyle Busch. Anthony Alfredo has he had a solid day in Xfinity until he got wrecked. It wasn't his fault. It was other people um, making mistakes and taking him out. Beard Racing only does super speedways in Atlanta, and they have been a solid team. Gregson's run for them. Austin Hill's run for them. They have had a lot of success. So I don't expect anything other than that. They are able to run a strategy where they keep the car in a position in the field where there usually aren't enough wreck, a lot of wrecks to take them out, and then they're there at the end. Cody Ware will stay towards the back, maybe a couple laps down if there's a lot of attrition. He's a good play. I think he can still be playing cash. Haley, great super speedway driver in Xfinity and in Cup. The Spire team's even better for him now, and I think pairing him with some Hendrick cars and the rest of the Spire cars makes a lot of sense. He'll be a solid cash play. Chase Briscoe has a ton of upside back here in the Stuart Haas car. He's in the playoffs. He'll probably hook up with Gregson and maybe Barry and Crease and some of the other Fords and have like a strong day. So I really like him in the upside. So I gave him a prime play. Most of our, again, another Spire car, solid pick here also in your cash lineup. EJ McLeod probably will fall back with Cody Ware and JJ Yaley, and they'll all try to run together and stay out of trouble and fall a couple laps down off the lead lap. But if there's a lot of chaos and crashes and stuff, by the end of the race, they might be back on the lead lap, and it wouldn't be surprising if they finish in the top 10. Um, always, always like take a top 10 bet on like some of these back marker guys and maybe even like a dollar for the win because I had Harrison Burton and Daytona for a dollar or like $10 for the win. And I think I won like 200, maybe it's 800. It was a decent amount of money on it, like such a small bet. So just make sure you throw some cash on some of these high odd back guys because this thing is so crazy that they could win. They could top 10 and it could get you a lot of money. So Hocevar's strong back here. Zane Smith is the prime play. No place to go but up. Um, if you don't like Wallace and you want to go like Hocevar, Smith, and Briscoe as your three prime plays, I'm fine with that. But I like the differentiation with Wallace. I don't think he'll have as much ownership, even though I have him as a high. And I think I like how that kind of makes your lineup different than everybody that thinks they're the smartest person in the room by stacking everybody from like 34 on back. And could it work? Yes. They have the most potential for place differential and upside, but you also have two cars in McLeod and Yaley that may not be on the lead lap and may have tech problems and break down and not be able to make it the full race. So you have to keep that in consideration also. So that's what I got for you. If you have any questions, put in chat below. Hit me on MegaRow31 on Twitter/X. If you want more information on FSIDFS, it's a great day to go in and go to the description of the video into the pricing page. $6, you can play all the sports all day long today, and there's so many of them between Major League Baseball, NFL, Sunday Night Football, soccer, uh, NASCAR, um, hockey. If there's still preseason games, then McKinley's covering that. Kurt's been covering WNBA playoffs, so I don't know what their schedules are, but if they're playing today, you get to play them for $6. So great price. And we got affordable pricing on many other things. So thanks for watching. If these videos help us back, like, subscribe to the channel, and share with your friends. And haven't looked at next week's schedule yet. I know it's the Roval and Charlotte, so I will try to get some speculation videos out. Those ones are easier to do than a super speedway, and we'll definitely have the Cup video for you. For next Sunday. So thanks for watching. Good luck in your contests. Hope you have an amazing weekend. I'll see you next time.